Hey everyone, welcome back to Daily Tuition. In this tutorial, we are going to learn a very interesting thing. We are going to drive a car using just a CSS and HTML. Along with that, if you want to add some additional functionality to your car, you can also use JavaScript for that. Now, let me first show you what we are going to create in this tutorial. So as you can see here, it's night and I want to drive a car and reach my home. So I will first turn on headlights of my car and then I will just start my car. After a few minutes, I will turn off my headlights for just the adventure. But then I decided to turn it on because I don't want to crash. So I will turn it on and I will stop my car for a while. And just after that, I will start my car again to reach my home. And just after that, after an hour, I will at my home. So this is what we are going to create in this tutorial. I will show you how you can stop and start your car, turn on and turn off headlights and drive your car safely. So let's see how to create this. So before we getting late, let's get started. So let's get started. So as you can see here, I have this tutorial folder. Now in this tutorial folder, I have the asset folder, and in the asset folder, I have 4 images, which we are going to use throughout this tutorial. Now outside of this asset folder and inside this tutorial folder, I'm going to create a new file. So I'm going to just click on this new file icon and just create here my first file, index.html, as well as I'm going to create here style.css. So I'm going to just here style.css. So in the index.html file, I'm going to link the style.css file. So I'm going to first create here HTML5 snippet. So I'm going to just add exclamation mark and press enter. So this will create a HTML5 snippet, and I'm going to specify a title. I'm going to specify title car and just say here link, and I want to link style.css. So I'm going to just say here style.css. Now just after that, save the changes. Now in the body section, I'm going to first create here night class. So I'm going to just say here dot night. Now to this div, I'm going to specify background image using CSS. So I'm going to save it and open this file in the live server. So I'm going to right click here and say open with live server. So this will open this index.html file in the browser like this. But as you can see, you're not going to get anything because we did not specify anything in the index.html file. So just after that, I'm going to just quickly open my style.css file and just toggle this window on the right side. Now what I want to specify some style to this night class. So I'm going to first select the body section. So I'm going to say here body, and I want to remove margin. So I'm going to just say here margin 0. And to this body, I want to specify a gradient color. So if you're wondering where do I get all these gradients color, then I want to show you where you can get the gradient colors. So I'm going to just open the new tab here in the browser and just say here web gradients. So from this website, you can get your different gradients colors and specify that to the HTML elements. So I'm going to choose this gradient color. So I'm going to just copy this CSS and open my style.css file and just paste it. So I'm going to just press Ctrl V to paste this gradient. And just after that, I'm going to specify overflow Y property hidden because I don't want scroller on the right side of the screen. So I just specify this property for that. Now just after that, I'm going to select night class, which we created before, and specify here height. So I'm going to just say here 80 viewport height, and width, I'm going to specify 70 viewport width. Save the changes, and if I specify border to this night class like this, you can see I have the rectangle here. Now I just want to center this rectangle. So I'm going to just specify here margin 5 rem. So I'm going to just specify top and bottom margin, as well as I'm going to say here auto to center this rectangle. Now as you can see, we have this center rectangle. Now just after that, I want to specify background image to this rectangle. So I'm going to just here background URL, and in this URL I want to specify the image which we have in the asset folder. So I'm going to just specify here dot /, select my asset folder and specify my first image right here, and just specify background size cover. Save the changes, and you can see I have my first image here. Now I don't want these borders, so I'm going to just get rid of this border and just save it. Now just note that I want to specify position property relative because I'm going to use absolute path. and then specify box shadow. So I'm going to just say here box shadow 1 pixel, 2 pixel, 60 pixel, and specify the RGB A color here. So I'm going to just specify light gray color here. Save the changes. So this will add some box shadow to this rectangle, and just after that, the last property I want to specify here is overflow. So I'm going to just specify overflow X hidden and save it. So anything we have in this container is not going to overflow outside of this rectangle. Now, just after that, I'm going to just open my index.html file, and in this file, in this division tag, I'm going to create a surface class. So I'm going to just say here surface, and to this div, I'm going to specify some style. So I'm going to open the style.css file, and just after that, I want to specify some style to it. So I'm going to just say here dot surface, and I'm going to just say here height 140 pixel, and width is going to be 500 pixel. Just after that, I want to specify background URL, and I want to specify my second image here. So I'm going to just say here dot / select my asset folder and select my second image here. So this is my road image. So as you can see here, so this is my road where I'm going to drive my car, right? Just after that, I want to specify the display property to it, display block, and want to specify position absolute. Just after that, I'm going to say bottom 0. Save the changes. So as you can see here, and I'm going to say here left 0. Now just after that, I want to repeat this image. So I'm going to just say here background repeat, and I'm going to say here repeat X, right? Save the changes. Now just after that, I'm going to open my index.html file, and in this file, just after this division tag right here, I'm going to create another division tag with the class car, and in this car I'm going to have an image of the car. So I'm going to just say here image, and in the source attribute I'm going to specify my car image. So I'm going to choose this image and save it. So when I save it, you can see I have this car image here. I want to add some style to it, so I'm going to open the style.css file, and right here I'm going to specify some style to this car. So I'm going to just select this car using car class and specify here position absolute and bottom 8%. Save the changes, and as you can see, we have this car image here, and I want to add some left property to it. So I'm going to just say here left 24%, right? Now we have this car here. So as you can see here, I have my background, I have my road and my car. Now what I want to drive my car. So I'm going to just open the style.css file and create here an animation. So I'm going to just create here a command animation. Now in this animation, I'm going to add keyframes. So I'm going to just first say here keyframe and just specify name for this keyframe, move right. I want to drive my car forward, but instead moving this car forward, I'm going to just move this foreground, this road backward. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just say here 100% and just say here transform translate x minus 2950 pixel. Save the changes. This will not do anything because we did not specify any animation to the class. So I'm going to just open my surface, this class, and specify here animation, name of my animation. So I'm going to just say here move right. Now just after that, I'm going to specify duration. So I'm going to just say here 6 second liner and save it. When I save it, you can see you have the moving background, but it can stop after a few minutes. So I'm going to just specify here infinite, save it, and you can see we have the infinite moving background. But still, I'm not going to get that effect that I'm driving this car. So I want to add some suspension effect to this car. So I'm going to just open my style.css file and just create here a keyframe. So I'm going to just say here keyframe and just create an animation here. So I'm going to name this animation suspension. So I'm going to just say here suspension, and to this suspension I'm going to say here 100%, and to the 100% I'm going to say transform translate y minus 1 pixel, and to the 50% I'm going to just say here transform translate y 2 pixel, and for 0%, I'm going to just specify here transform translate y minus 1 pixel. So I'm going to copy it and paste it here. Just after that, I'm going to specify this animation to the car. So I'm going to just say here animation, name of my animation, which is suspension, duration. So I'm going to just say here 1 second. Easing function, I'm going to say here liner and specify infinite. Right? Save the changes. So when I save it, you can see I have this suspension effect to this car. Now I feel that I am driving this car. So as you can see, I have my moving car animation ready. So using just a simple HTML and CSS, I have my moving car animation. Now what I want, I'm going to add some advanced feature to this animation. Just like I want to turn off these headlights and I want to start and stop this car on the key press. So I'm going to add that using JavaScript. If you don't want to add any additional functionality to this tutorial, you can leave this video from here, but I will recommend you to watch the entire tutorial to learn something advanced. I'm going to add JavaScript to my index.html file, and when I press enter, I want to stop this car, and when I press enter again, I want to drive my car. And just after that, when I press W, I want to turn off these headlights. So let's move on and see how to do that. So I'm going to just open my index.html file, and in this file, I'm going to first create here magic.js file. I'm going to create a JavaScript file, magic.js, and I'm going to link it to my index.html before the closing body tag right here. So I'm going to just say here script, and in the source attribute, I'm going to say magic.js. Now I'm not going to use the vanilla JavaScript. Instead, I'm going to use jQuery library to simplify this tutorial. So I'm going to just open a new tab here and just say here jQuery CDN. And from this website, from this jQuery CDN, so I'm going to just right click here and say copy link address. And before the JavaScript file, I'm going to create here a script tag with the source attribute and specify that link here like this. Save the changes. Now you can use jQuery in your application. Now just open the magic.js file and just call here jQuery object document.ready function. Now this function is execute when the document is ready, right? Now in this function, I'm going to first create few variables. So I'm going to just say here variables. So I'm going to just create here a few variables. I'm going to first create here a surface is equal to and call the jQuery object, and I want to specify surface element here. So I'm going to just say here dot surface. So this will specify surface element to this variable. Now just after that, I'm going to select my car. So I'm going to just say here car, and I'm going to select the car using the class car. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just create here key press event. So when I press enter, I want to drive this car, and when I press enter again, I want to stop driving. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call here jQuery object document.on method, and to this on method I want to specify my event. So I'm going to just here key press and just call the callback function. So I'm going to just here function and just specify the body of that function. Now to this function, I'm going to specify a parameter, event parameter, and just say here if event dot which is equal to 13. So the key code of enter is 13. But wait, how do you know which is the key code of any key? So let me show you how you can find the key code. Just get rid of this statement and just say here console.log and just say here e.which. Save the changes, and when you open the console and when you press enter, you are going to get the key code on the console like this, right? Now the 13 is the key code of enter key. Now let me show you what is the key code of W key. So when I press W, I'm going to get 119. So this is the key code of W key, right? We are going to use both these keys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just say here if e.which is equal to 13, then I want to select this surface. So I'm going to just say here surface, and just after that I'm going to call here a method toggle class. So this method is used to add and remove CSS classes from the element. Now to this method, I'm going to specify here my class. So I'm going to just say here move right. But wait, we don't have this class in my style.css file. So let's create it. So I'm going to just specify here semicolon and save the changes and just open the style.css file. And at the last right here, I'm going to just say here move right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just get rid of this animation property like this and specify this property to this class. Save the changes. Now as you can see, we have this suspension class already specified to this car, but when I press enter, it is going to specify this move right class to this surface. So I'm going to first open the developer tool, and from the element you can see, so when I press enter, we have this move right class to this division tag and my car is moving forward. And when I press enter again, and as you can see, the move right class is removed from this division tag. As simple as that, right? Just open the magic.js file, and just after that, I'm going to just duplicate this statement and just select my car, and I want to specify here a class suspension. So as you know, we don't have this class in my style.css file, so I'm going to just create it. And to this class, instead specifying this animation to this car, I'm going to get rid of this animation and specify that to this class. Save the changes. And now when I press enter, this will move this car forward and we have the suspension effect to this car. So let me first open the developer tool. We don't have this move right and the suspension class to these division tags. When I press enter, the toggle class method will add move right and suspension class to this division tag. So when I press enter, you can see we have this move right and suspension class to this divs, and we have this moving car. When I press enter again, this will stop this car, and you can see we don't have this move right and this suspension class to these divs. So now you can stop and start your car whenever you want. So let's say I want to stop my car. So when I press enter, this will stop my car. And then if I want to drive my car, I will press enter. Right? As simple as that. Now what I want to operate these headlights as well. I'm going to open the magic.js file. I'm going to just create an event here. So I'm going to copy this code, paste it down here, and instead specifying this if statement, I'm going to just create here variable and name that variable img and just select my image tag. So I'm going to just say here .car img. So I'm going to select my car image in this variable, and just after that I'm going to say here let flag is equal to true. Now on the keyframe event right here, what I'm going to do is when I press W, I want to turn off these headlights. So I'm going to just say here if e.which is equal to 119. If I press W, I want to check if the flag is true. I want to specify flag false, else I'm going to just say here flag true. Now what I'm going to do is when I press W, this will execute the if block, and then when I press W again, this will execute this else block. And now if you open your asset folder, you can see I have two images here, the car with the headlight and the car without headlights. So I'm going to use this image when I press W key. So I'm going to open the magic.js file, and right here I'm going to just create an array here. So I'm going to just say here constant cars is equal to, and in the array I want to specify the path of the image. So I'm going to just copy this path and just specify that path right here. And just after that, I'm going to specify the second array element like this. I'm going to copy and paste that again, and instead specifying the same image, I'm going to just change it to image 5. Save the changes, and just after that right here I'm going to just call this image variable. So I'm going to just say here img.attribute, and I want to set the attribute source. So I'm going to just say here source. I want to say here cars, and I want to specify the first element right here. So I'm going to just specify here 0. Copy the statement, paste it down here, change this element to 1. So now just save the changes. Now let me check the W key is working or not. When I press W key, it's going to turn off the headlights of this car, when I press W key again, this will turn on the headlights, right? So you can turn off and turn on headlights of your car anytime while driving as well. So I'm going to just first turn on the lights and just drive my car. While I'm driving, I want to turn off these lights. So when I press W, this will turn off these lights, but this is very risky to drive your car without the headlights at night. So as you can see, the headlights is turned on. As simple as that. And if I want to stop my car, I'm going to press enter. This will stop my car. And if I want to drive my car again, I will press enter. Download all the images from the description. Comment me if you have any question and any request. Subscribe to this channel for more latest videos. That is all for now. I will see you in the next tutorial.